What's up, y'all? Y'all know what time it is. Y'all know who it is, man. Mr. Unstoppable. Mornings with Mr. Unstoppable. It is Wednesday. Officially 5:11 in the morning. As of course, I always start my day with the tea. But as I was driving to the gym, because I'm outside at the gym. This is typically when I make these videos with this terrible lighting. Ha! But I just wanted to reflect a little bit about just like self-identity and the way that we perceive ourselves, self-confidence. So Napoleon Hill said the greatest disadvantage that a person has is lack of self-confidence. The way that we view ourselves is so powerful. So if you're having issues with transformation, with changing yourself, changing your habits, or becoming a better version of yourself, the reason is because you identify as the thing that you are not trying to be anymore. All right. So if you feel like it's really hard, you got to really step into a new identity. The more research that I do, it's becoming more and more apparent of how exactly transformation works. And that's the first step. The first step is first you have to, I'll teach y'all the 4 pillars real quick and I'm gonna go inside. So the first pillar is you have to be dissatisfied with something first, whether it be something that you're particularly doing right now. So like for me, when my transformation started, I was 50 pounds overweight and I got dissatisfied with myself. I did not want to be how I was anymore. And that was a non-negotiable. That's the first step to change, to transformation. You have to be dissatisfied. The second pillar of transformation is you have to believe that you can actually change. If you don't believe that you can change, it's not going to happen because you're going to hold yourself back. You have to have confidence in yourself that you can transform, that you can make the changes that you really desire to make for yourself. When I decided to not be overweight anymore, I created a new standard for myself because I said this is a non-negotiable now, and I believed that I could actually do it. That was the second step to me changing my life, to me changing and transforming into the person that I would become today. The third thing is, after you have the belief that you can change, you need to create a new identity for yourself, for you to step into. The way that you talk to yourself is very, very, very important. The thoughts that you think, the words that you say are very powerful because everything you say and think is an affirmation. Okay, so you're solidifying that identity. Identity is the major key factor when it comes to transformation. Me personally, the identity that I stepped into, I've always been like a really big anime fan. I've always been like a really big fan of superheroes. So I adopted the name Superman. And the word unstoppable, that's what that came from. I told myself that that's what I was going to be, a superhero who was unstoppable. It got to the point where that was my nickname, Superman. That's actually where this tattoo comes from, right here. That says only the strong succeed. So that was, I didn't know at the time that that's what I was doing. I had no idea that I was going through these 4 pillars, but I created a new identity for myself to step into. So now, instead of me saying I can't do this or I can't do that or I'm the type of person that can't do this, I said I am unstoppable. I am a superhero. I am Superman. I wanted to become somebody who did not give up, who pursued anything that he wanted in life, who pursued his goals and could not be stopped. That was the identity that I created for myself. The 4th pillar of transformation is repetition. So after you have came to the point where you are dissatisfied with whatever is happening right now, you made a decision, you believe in the fact that you can actually transform. That's pillar 2. Pillar 3 is creating the new identity for yourself to step into, because you have to let the old version of yourself die so that way you can become the new version. You have to change. You have to step into that. And that belief is what's going to hold you to be able to continue to make those repetitions, which is pillar 4, constant action. Now, you don't have to change a lot at one time. In fact, you shouldn't change a lot at one time, because you're going to have resistance to this transformation. If you were somebody who always felt like a victim, or you were somebody who never believed in yourself, you didn't have confidence, maybe based on some things that people told you in your life, because a lot of the things that we think don't even come from us. It comes from people who told us things in our lifetime, and we hold on to those things. But everything like that is a thought, and a thought can be changed. That's something Louise Hay always says. So once you start stepping into this new identity, don't get discouraged, because it's going to be a hard thing. You're becoming somebody you've never been before. That is the most challenging thing that any human being on this planet can do. Become something that you've never become before. It is a task. It's a task. And alchemy is called the great work, because it is the great work, believe me. So when you are transforming yourself, give yourself some grace. All right? Don't be hard on yourself, because like I said, you're becoming something that you have never been before. Nobody can really understand that, because it's a shift. People who have went through these transformations can, but you gotta get used to the resistance. So taking small actionable steps over a period of time, it's gonna start. Every single deposit that you make, every time that you wake up at 5 a.m., every time that you go work out, every time that you, instead of going home after you get off work when you're tired and you don't want to do it, you go do it anyway. Every time you do that, you're making deposits. You're showing yourself that you are becoming the identity that you have set up for yourself, that you want it to transform into. And every time you make those little small deposits, you become more and more that person that you said that you wanted to become. And it takes time, right? It takes a lot of repetition, it takes a lot of action. And you're not going to get it all right at the beginning. There will be slips. Sometimes you're going to go back into those bad habits, but you don't stop. You just keep going. You keep going. You get right back on it the next day. All right, I grant myself some grace, because I am becoming the next identity that I have set up for myself. It's hard, because you're going to fall back to your habits. But keep that belief. Keep the standard. You have to set a new standard for yourself, because if you don't set a new standard, you're going to fall back to your habits. Goals without standards don't mean nothing. They don't mean shit. If you don't have a new standard for the goal, it's not going to work, period. Point blank, period. Right? So those are the 4 pillars. Those are the 4 pillars of transformation. And that's the psychology behind it. Whenever you do something new, whenever you're changing something, your brain is going to have resistance to it, because it's new. It's like, what is this? We've been doing this the entire time, and they're telling me we're doing this. And you have to say, yes, that's exactly true. That's exactly correct. So I need y'all to get y'all shit together, because this is how we're doing things now. Your conscious mind, you're the one that calls the plays. You're the one that is the boss. You're the one that's the master, right? Like the brain tells the body what to do, but the body's going to give resistance when you programmed it to be a certain type of way, because you're straying from that. But you say, hey, look, this is what we doing, body. We getting up at 5 a.m. I know it kind of sucks right now. That's not what we usually do, but this is what we doing now. And you have to keep that mindset. And then after a period of time, that's how you continue to transform and become the next version of yourself. And you can just rinse and repeat. Every single time you get dissatisfied with something, you have a belief that you can change, and then you create a new identity for yourself, and then repetition, and then boom, everything comes together, and next thing you know, you're unstoppable, man. That's today's video. I'm gonna go work out, and shout out to all the people who've been watching my videos, leaving comments, leaving likes and stuff like that, man. Y'all like these types of things. Leave a comment, drop it down below. If this is something that resonated with you, just let me know in the comments, man. I'm going to keep making videos and keep being the transformation specialist that I am, and keep studying and keep growing myself and evolving myself, so that way I can be of more benefit and service to others. All right? Because that's what my purpose is. As always, remember, no obstacle is greater than the power that you have within you. Stay unstoppable. Peace.